Sweet. Undercover Angel here, Joan of Angels. We are investigating and exploring all of these miraculous, inspirational people and events around the world. So, we are going to be diving into crystal skulls, the magic, the mysteries with a very renowned crystal skull keeper in just a minute. But meanwhile, first, I want to say thank you for joining the show. If you're new, you've been here before, we're just so grateful to see you. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share so we can continue to grow our content. I'm very excited about that. And I am your host, Joan of Angels. My mission here is to heal and inspire millions of people to know who they are and why they are here. So you can visit me at joanofangels.com, where you can find out what we're doing and how to step into the miraculous. All right. So our guest today is a very unique woman, Michelle Falcone, which I think is a beautiful name. It reminds me of that bird, the falcon, is a gifted intuitive teacher, energy worker, medium, and crystal skull wisdom channeler, as well as a hypnotherapist and trained in other various modalities. But she is a caretaker, forget this, 23 crystal skulls and counting, including the one she's going to show us, Mana, who is 44.44 lb. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, 44 pounds, of course. Crystal skull. I haven't seen it written out like that for a while. So 44-pound crystal skull, which she takes to different conferences. And she's going to share some of her wisdom today with us on how to use crystal skulls, how to connect with them, and why we're even interested in them and what they have to offer us. So, Michelle, I'm really happy to see you today. Can you hear us?
Hi, Joan. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can. There's still a slight delay, but we will get used to it. Okay. So, Michelle, I'm so curious about you. How did you ever get into crystal skulls? Let's start there.
Well, sure, absolutely. I was never really into them. And then one day I was taking a shamanism class and it was online, and I heard that I needed to go to Florida through my intuition. And I kind of said, yeah, okay, I'll go someday. You know, I'm so busy. And then I got, no, you need to go this weekend. And I thought, oh my goodness, this weekend. And it was such a clear message that I listened, and I ended up in Florida that weekend, visiting a friend. And she took me to see a shaman that she knows there. And he is a caretaker for 2 ancient crystal skulls. And I thought they were really interesting, still wasn't interested in them. And then we went to a crystal show that he had, and I saw one. I didn't know it was a skull to begin with. And he handed it to me. It was this one, actually. I saw it from behind, and he handed it to me like this. And I said, oh, no, I don't want that. That's a skull. I'm not into them. And I handed it back to him, and ended up back in his shop a couple days later. Unbeknownst to me, I woke up in the morning and I looked at my friend and said, I need to go back to his shop. I don't know why. And she said, just go. And I walked in and I said, I'm not sure why I'm here. And he said, just look around. And he started walking away, and I said, hey, do you have that crystal skull that you handed me the other day? And I was so shocked that came out of my mouth, because I wasn't thinking about it. And I thought, like, who said that? I mean, I know I said it, but how did I say that? And he walked away, and to go get this little guy. And in that moment, all my beliefs about crystal skulls, my ideas were suspended, because I was in wonder about what just came through my mouth. And so when he handed this crystal skull to me, and there were no barriers, and I felt such a deep love that I looked at him, I said, I think this skull is mine. And that was the beginning of the whole thing. And so now I have so many, and That's what I do.
So the skull actually just took over really and spoke through you.
Yes.
And from that moment on, okay, so tell us about that process. What's that like to have that happen for you?
Well, that was the first time that I ever spoke something that I wasn't expecting to speak. So it was quite shocking. And so I ended up taking my crystal skull home with me, and I I would look at him and I would talk to him because obviously he wanted to talk to me. And I said, you know, what do I do with you? I don't know what to do with you. And so I took him to a shamanic journey, and then we put him on the altar. And unbeknownst to me at the time, I didn't put two and two together. There were 12 people in the journey circle, and the skull was in the center, which goes along with that Mayan legend about the
Mhm.
crystal skulls from Atlantis. And we focused on what did the crystal skull want to do while he was in my care. And it worked out that he wanted to bring other crystal skulls to me, to connect with other crystal skulls, other people, and just to bring wisdom and to bring healing, to bring positive energy, and to really influence a positive change on the earth, and to facilitate community. They're very big about facilitating community.
This must have all been a surprise to you to suddenly understand that your life was going to be involved with crystal skulls when you hadn't when you had been so opposed to them,
Yeah.
which is interesting. So let's talk about that 12, that circle of 12, and that ancient legend. Why don't you can you tell us a little bit more about that ancient legend of the crystal skulls, the stuff
Oh,
of
yes.
movies?
Yes, yes, I'd be happy to. And Joan, I'm so glad you brought your crystal skulls too, because they like to play and converse with each other.
I know I should be holding them so they can be like really in the presence. There's a
Aw.
story about my skulls too. I'll tell you later. But tell us about this legend of the crystal skulls, as long as you mentioned it.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So there's a Mayan legend that goes that there were 12 temples in Atlantis, and they were all healing temples. And each temple had a crystal skull, and each crystal skull held information and energy from that particular temple. So they are very tied to the pyramids because the temples were pyramids. And when Atlantis disappeared, so did the crystal skulls. And the Mayan legend says that when the earth is ready and the people of earth are ready and we've evolved to a certain point, that the 12 crystal skulls will come back into unity, they'll form a circle, and there will be a 13th skull that appears in the center that is able to bring all that information together and to transmit it out to the people of the planet so that we come back into different modes of healing, ancient wisdom, and it will be used in love, which is what they've been waiting for.
Lovely, lovely. And so what can well, let me tell you about my crystal skull for a minute. I was invited to speak at a crystal skull conference back in 2010 in Arizona. And I was actually gifted two skulls, and they're both gone now. They were in a suitcase at a friend's house, and they're missing. And it's like so weird because I hadn't thought of crystal skulls for a long time. So those are bigger ones, like the size of that one with the funny nose on the right. But I did end up with these two little ones. And it's so funny because they actually stayed with me. They told me before we started that they wanted to be here in the presence of your 23 crystal skulls and you. So what's the magic you think about crystal skulls? Like what can one do with their crystal skulls? Like I'm just so fascinated by this.
Oh, well, first I would say to really consider them friends. And they come to you because, I mean, there's a reason that they come to you. And then when they leave you, there's a reason that they leave you. And maybe you were the messenger and the way for them to get to where they need to be. So I wouldn't be too upset about that. But they're really companions, and they really do hold so much information, so much love, a lot of healing abilities. I do crystal skull meditations. In fact, I'm doing one at Serpent Mound, which is an ancient site in Ohio, on the winter solstice, the December 21st at midnight. And they'll be sitting in a circle, which is a profound way to be, to sit in circle, because it's a circle of equals. And they talk to each other. You can talk with them, you can ask them questions, you can channel with them, you can receive healing from them. I mean, they're very magical beings. And the reason that they're so important to us is because scientifically they have a shape resonance with us, because we have a skull, they have a skull. It's easier to transmit information to us and for us to connect with them because of the shape resonance, which is why that's important. Although some of them are shaped differently, like this one is my traveler skull. This one is very good for connecting with otherworldly beings who have quite a bit of information too.
That's beautiful. So, look at that unusual face. It does look very extraterrestrial in that sense. And the others?
Well, this
What's
one is
one's name?
Peace. This one told me this one's a peacekeeper. So sometimes they identify with a particular male or female energy, masculine, feminine energy. I leave that open to people's interpretation, because there may be traits that the skull possesses that one person associates more with the masculine and one person picks up more on the feminine. The way I identify with them, this one is very balanced. So you would have to decide, if you wanted this to be a gender, you'd have to decide which one you resonated with in which moment. This one, I will say, this is my first one, and it's interesting because he has a brown heart on the side of him, if you can see that.
Oh, I do. Yes.
Yep. And this one, he has a geode in the top of his head. It's a little opening there. This one looks kind of a little bit more marsupial looking. Again, maybe a little bit extraterrestrial. This one, I call him Art, although his name is very, very long and I couldn't pronounce it anyway. This one is a quartz crystal skull. He has an amazing third eye thing happening here, if you see that. And his name is Draco.
Now they tell you their names. You don't name them, right?
No, I do not name them. Some of them don't tell me their name. Some of them still have not told me their name. So I'll say, if you have a crystal skull and it hasn't told you its name, then just be patient. And this one is Mana. She's 44 pounds, and she's traveled to Florida on an airplane, which was fun getting through customs with her.
Wow. I would think did they try to confiscate her?
No, I said to her, you better work your magic. You're up, and she managed to get herself through customs. And then I took her to the beach, and she sat in the salt water during red tide to kind of heal the water. And there were horses that were in the water at that time. She told us where to stop. It was incredible. It was amazing.
Wow.
I travel with her all over. So.
And so do you do speaking with her then, and public healings with her?
Yes. Yep. as a matter of fact, just in September, I was at Serpent Mound again, which is an amazing place to go, especially if you're a crystal skull enthusiast. With Terry Sings with Raven and her partner Thomas, and they had a beautiful ceremony there. And my skulls told me what they wanted to do. They wanted to sit in circle, which they did. And they wanted people to come and sit in the center of them. So 12 of them sat in circle, and each person who wished to connect with their higher self sat in the center of the circle, and they became the 13th skull. And these skulls connected with them, and we connected with their higher self and with the earth. And there was a lot of transformation that took place. It was pretty profound.
All the crystal skull keepers I know seem to have a very profound connection with, I was going to say spirit, but it seems to be beyond. It seems to be a real extra dimensional connection. Do you think these skulls, I've read that some people believe that the skulls are extraterrestrial in origin. Do you think that's possible? Or because I know they're made here on Earth too, that these are not found naturally, right?
Well, no. I mean, some people say that they've found one of the 12 ancient crystal skulls. There's a lot of controversy around that. Did they? Didn't they? When was it carved? You really can't date a crystal because the crystal is probably millions of years old. The only thing you can maybe try to do is see when it was carved and see what kind of tools carved it to kind of see when it was from. So yes, I do believe that they are very connected to extraterrestrial beings, but some could say that those beings are us on a different timeline also, which is something that I received from a channeling from Mana, which I have here and we can read a little bit later. But yet their information is profound. It's timeless, and it's incredibly interesting when you get into them. Yep.
Very, very fascinating. I would love to hear then what the crystal skulls have to say about what's going on today. It would be very, very interesting if you wanted to share that with us.
Yeah, I think the channeling that I did with Mana happened when we went to go visit the Mitchell Hedges skull in Lilydale. And after that visit, I went with her to the stump circle and put her in the center of the circle. And I sat out on the outside of the circle and just asked her what she wanted to say. And I think this is so relevant to the times that we're going through today. So I'll just read this for you. This was in August of 2019. And she said, "The world is another construct for us to locate ourselves as a pinpoint. It is actually non-existent in the terms in which we have defined it. It is infinite, as above, as below. The ground beneath our feet is something we can feel. Below the ground, we have constructed a center, in quotation marks, so there is an end. But if you examine the oceans, they are infinitely deep. Therein lies the secret, in the water. As space has no constraint and is free of a finite form, so is the earth, although we have constructed it otherwise in our teachings. This is so we can locate ourselves in space and time, much as time does not exist, and yet it does exist in infinitum, much as we exist beyond our bodies. Our bodies exist as points of expression. We have infinite points of expression, as we have infinite timelines, infinite other lives, and all infinite existence. We wish to speak of this to those who will understand. This is why we use tools in prophecy. We do not need tools, yet we do need tools for our experience as points of expression. Some have points of expression that no longer need tools, so preach as such. We recognize all points of expression, therefore we recognize all needs. Each point of expression expresses from their point of view, so other points of expression may have that experience to decide which point of expression they would like to become next, perhaps in the next moment, or the next year, or the next life. There are infinite points of expression at all times. We use the words time and space to express in our way that most would understand, knowing these do not exist. One fully understands the vastness of all when one leaves their point of expression to return to source. When one returns to source, one again becomes one with everything. We become the earth, the air, the trees, animals, water. We become everything. It amuses us that some think one leaves when one does indeed become one with all. So each is breathing, eating, and living in the departed ones. This is a very important concept to comprehend, because in so doing, this brings an end to grief in death and instead perpetuates eternal joy in life, which is spoken of in your books. We will speak on accountability another time. Namaste.
Wow. Very, very powerful for each of us to, I think, learn how to, I love the healing and the information that comes through that.
Yeah, thank you. They thank you. They thank you so much for joining with them.
I can feel them. I can feel their presence. They're very, very powerful. The energy is very palpable. So you say that you do healing with them. Like, how does that happen? Like, because they're a crystal. So how does the healing happen? Are they conscious of it? What happens?
So the crystal skulls are like, skulls can be programmed. Crystals can be programmed, just like we do that. We have crystals in our TVs and our phones. We know that they can be programmed with information. These crystals have been programmed with earth information for so long. They've been created by the earth. There is creator energy that they embody. And when one connects with them, they connect with creator energy. So the way that they work is they attune the individual more to creator energy, bringing them closer to source, connecting them more with their higher selves, so to speak. They know, I leave it to the skulls to do what they know is best. And I connect with them and I speak what they wish for me to say when I connect with a particular individual. So everybody has their own healing that goes on. It's not one size fits all. But they do bring forth, they help you connect with your gifts. They help you connect to a higher consciousness. They help you release things that are no longer needed. They bring wisdom. It's just so, it's hard to describe because it's so multi-dimensional. It's like a quantum healing experience. And see, you even say you can feel them from where you are.
I am. I'm feeling them now. And there's a longing for the crystal skull that I had, whose name was Alice, and she was pink and didn't look at all like those. And I'm feeling her. It's like, oh my God. So I can feel that. And I have a question for you then. So Michelle, obviously they all know they're on the show and they're going out worldwide to people. Are they like sending healing energies now with all of us, or like, is that part of their operating program?
So they're connecting with everyone because everyone who watches your show, they've obviously connected with you. You're very angelic. They love high vibrational energy, and they're connecting with everybody who watches this show. And it doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter if it's currently while it's live or later. Whenever this comes into that being's awareness is when that being is connected with this energy. And there's obviously, like you said, a longing to connect with your pink crystal skull. They long to connect. This is why they love community. This is why the being on your show is so wonderfully important and profound. And they're connecting with all the viewers to, it's whatever the viewer's intention is in love. It is all done in love. And so if it's in love, what they wish to achieve, the crystal skulls are available to assist them.
And you help people. So if, say I'm listening to this and I go, oh my God, would they feel like I need to talk to her? Do you do readings with them also? Or what kinds of things do you offer with the skulls?
I do readings with them. My favorite thing is to combine the different modalities that I do. So I let the individual and the crystal skull come together, and then I connect with the person's higher self. And usually it's some energy work. I do want to say that everyone heals themselves. And for myself, I am simply a conduit of energy to connect their higher selves to them, and their higher self, the individual and the crystal skulls, are the ones that do the work. And I am simply the one who assists in directing the energy and in channeling the messages. So when I do healing work, people do also get readings at the same time. I tell them what's happening. I tell them what I'm experiencing as I'm bringing the energy through. I'm giving them messages from the crystal skulls. Sometimes past loved ones come in. It's a very high vibrational experience. So
it sounds like that. And I'm kind of hearing that. So I think it was a couple of years ago, I was in Arizona and I was at a hotel where the Earth Keepers were having an event. And I wasn't actually going to that event, but I'm walking down the hallway and I hear a voice that says, well, come and see me. And it was Max. Now, I couldn't get in to see him because I wasn't registered for the conference, but I heard him say, you need to come talk to me. So I'm guessing that if people need to talk to them, they're going to hear that kind of message, whether they're just going to feel that in their thing, in their consciousness.
Yeah,
you
or they'll
that,
just show up. They just show up, like me. Yeah. I heard just go to Florida and I didn't know why I was going. I thought, okay, I'll go because this sounds pretty important.
And it obviously altered your life. I have to tell you something really cute, Michelle. You have those two big crystal skulls on either side of your shoulders. And I'm looking at you, and when my eyes, sometimes glaze a little bit, it's like, oh my God, those are like wings. And they're very intensely. If I was to do a screenshot, I think I will, because you'll never see it again. I just took a screenshot for you. I'm going to send it to you later. It actually looks like, aren't I right, guys? It kind of looks like she has angel wings. And I noticed it when you said that I was looking angelic. And then I looked and I went, wait a minute, those are wings right there.
Oh.
And it's like they carry that energy for you. Well, is there anything else? What else do we really need to know about the crystal skulls before we would say goodbye here? Or guys, do you have any questions about the skulls? Do you sell skulls to people or crystals, or you just help them?
I don't sell them myself, but I can give guidance in terms of what to look for in choosing a skull or in recognizing that a skull has chosen you, because it usually happens, both things happen at the same time.
Right. No, I get it. And it's very unusual to hear. It was very unusual to hear the voice of Max. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, and then you don't even question it because you definitely didn't make that one up. You
Right.
know, you
Right.
didn't, make it up yourself. So that it's very easy to really get that it's this other energy. I've been diving into crystal skulls recently, and I feel like, oh, this is a sign that somehow I'm being called to some new level of work. And so that's another reason I'm so excited to see you. And I see you have a Facebook group. Let me find that for everyone. And so in that group, do you guys talk crystal skulls? Is that it?
Oh yes, we talk about crystal skulls. I do teach how to work with crystal skulls also. We do channelings with them. I teach you how to connect with them. Um, it's really just kind of facilitating the energy so you can have your own experience with them, and teaching people, like giving them the experience of how the crystal skulls can be used for healing, how they can connect with them to heal themselves, their loved ones. What does it feel like when that happens? And to cultivate just a love of them so we can come more into community with each other.
That actually sounds amazing, to cultivate kind of a relationship or a connection with them. I'm going to put the link again, guys, to the Facebook group right here so you can connect with her there. The Wi-Fi is a little slow. And I'm also going to put again the link to your website if they want to book an appointment so they can come in and connect with you and the skull.
Yes.
Comments. So we'll put it right down here, guys. So you have it. It's complicated. You just can't go to her site with grace and ease. You have to actually have intention, which is kind of interesting. I'm sure that the skulls themselves like you to have intention if you're going to connect with them, basically. Well, I love this. And so now you're from Independence, right? Independence, Ohio. Is that what you told me?
Yes. Yes.
I just love that. I love that. Do the crystal skulls like being in Independence, Ohio? Do they say anything about this feeling of independence?
Yes, they really do. And I think that's what they're here for, is to teach people, how to connect with themselves and really listen to their wisdom so they can operate in sovereignty and in community at the same time. But I live in Ohio, which the tagline for Ohio is the heart of it all. And I love
Right.
that. That's where I feel happy.
And it sounds like that's where you're doing your most intense channelings, where you're at the Serpent Mound. And so
Yes.
you're actually in the heart of shifting some of the energies here on the planet, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that. And I like what you said. Okay. The sovereignty of every individual, which is really something that all of us need to really consider, work with. And yes. And really use our discernment to discover what we want, what we don't want,
Yes.
what makes sense to us, what freedom and independence is really all about. So it's interesting that the crystal skulls who've been here energetically for thousands of years are here to actually teach us how to access our own wisdom
Yes.
through connecting. Oh God, I'm hearing connecting with the stars. So when you're connecting with an ET, I mean with your skulls, you're actually connecting with the stars. I'm going interdimensional now with you. I
Yes.
can't help it. It happens to be these wings you have are just taking me off planet. All right. Are there any other messages you want to leave everyone with, Michelle? Anything else you want to tell them? Oh, your email address. Let's give them your email. What's your email again? It's a beautiful email.
It's come home, the number 2, your heart at gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan. And what I'd really like to leave people with is just to, stay in love, stay in love, stay in love, stay in love, and realize that things are getting better. They're getting better. and we're evolving to a higher state of being. So just to keep that end goal in sight and to really keep hopeful and to keep their vibration high, because that's how you help the planet.
See that, and that's what we've been teaching every day. It's about raising your vibrational frequency into the higher dimensions and beyond, so that we can really do the work we came here to do and not get lost down here.
Yep.
So I love your message. I'm so excited that we've been connected, Michelle. I'm sure that my tribe's going to hear more from you soon. And just a big shout. Look, everyone just loves what you have to say. Yes, yes, yes. Good vibes. So we're just really proud of you that you listened to the skull when they first talked to you. And from that moment, now you're here with us today. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Joan. I thank you so much. And thank everybody for coming. I loved connecting with all of you.
Come home to your heart, guys, to reach out to her. And we will talk to you soon, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, was this fascinating or not? I really, she looked like an angel to me with both of those two crystals on both sides. That was the view that I had. So we're in the angelic realms. I think the crystal skulls take you into the angelic realms, as well as the ET realms, our star family realms. I love that they help you remember who you are, why you're here. They help you raise your frequency and vibration to match that. So definitely reach out to our guest and dive deeper into crystal skulls. And meanwhile, I want to thank you all for being with me. It just means a lot to me, makes my heart sing. Please like, subscribe. I now have a little subscribe button so you can be notified when I go online. And do you know I have over 350 videos that I have done? Many of them have never been seen by anyone. They have 0 views, but I'm resurrecting everything because we have so much information to share with you. And please check out my website, joanofangels.com. Sign up, get the free ebook. Check out the Soul Awakening session so that you too can remember who you are and why you're here. And we will see you next time. We're so grateful you were with us. We send you love, healing, blessings, and miracle vibrations to have the best life that you came here for. See you next time.